This is your girl, Pastor Sheila, and welcome to Queen Sheila Talks. So, today we are talking about something that is so close to my heart. I know that every single thing that I bring up here, it's because I've prayed about it. I've sat on that word. I have spent time in it. I've played it. I have lived it sometimes, and I have seen that it works. And today, this is very close to my heart because if you get this one, you are sorted for life. If you get your revelation here, believe me, you are sorted for life. So before we go right into it, let me read this quote so that it leads us into what we are going to be talking about. Before we do that, please go and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please do comment and share this content. And yes, of course, if it has something you believe it will help somebody out there. So, the quote that I'm reading today is: You are the only person you need to be good enough for. Let me tell you something. It all starts with you. It all starts with you. Before we can go into the world, before we can speak about the third party or the second party, it starts with yourself. How do you see yourself? How do you view yourself? What are the kind of words you say to yourself? Let me tell you something. A few years ago, I remember I used to be so hard on myself. I did not have room for mistakes for myself. And every time I did a mistake, I felt like I was punishing myself. I did not give myself or have provision to make mistakes and grow from them. Instead of learning from them, I would be all about beating myself. So this friend of mine who's a psychologist the other day spoke to me and said, why do you speak to yourself like that? You really need to be kind to yourself. You need to speak to yourself very, very good. You need to be nice to yourself the same way that you are able to open that room for people, that people can be weak, people can make mistakes. It's the same way that you need to open room for yourself. So, who are you? You are a human being. The same blood they have, you have blood, it's red. You have the same, sometimes different challenges, but we all have challenges, and you are bound to make mistakes because, girl, you're not perfect. And those times I felt like, God, what is this girl saying to me? And I felt it reach home because I knew I was very hard on myself. I knew I was very hard on every single thing. I wanted things to go this way. Straight. That's how I wanted things to go. And in that way, I was not really giving myself provision to learn and to grow because there was never a time that I gave myself to look at the kind of mistakes I was doing because mistakes were not a lot in my life. And it came maybe with the territory, with the assignment that maybe the expectation that people give you as a pastor that you need to be perfect. But I realized there is no great man in the Bible that is perfect. From Abraham had a kid with his servant, with his helper, and David had a kid with Bathsheba. I'm not saying that we condone wrong or anything like that. I'm saying that these were mighty people that loved God, that followed God. The Bible calls Abraham the father of nations, and David the man after God's heart. There is Moses. He married a wife that was not from Israel. Remember, God had told them clearly that you need to marry from Israel, but he did not marry from Israel. He married a wife out of their own nation, their own people, and yet the Bible calls him the most humble man. And yet there are 5 books written about Moses, written by Moses. So allow yourself to have those mistakes. How do you speak to yourself? Because when you speak to yourself in a rough way, when you speak to yourself in a bad way, you will not feel or see when people start speaking to you in a bad way. So, how do you view yourself? Number two, I feel like this is so personal, like I know there's a time when, yeah, I really gained weight, and I know it's an insecurity for every woman. I know that we have insecurity sometimes about our weight, about all these things, but I began, I began hating my body. Like I did not really care about my body, the parts of my body that I liked, like my face and others. But I decided I don't like my body, and in that sense, every single thing that would seed on me that I would wear, I would not see the beauty in it. And you know what? I needed to change that because I would go and somebody would be like, "Oh my God, you look nice. Oh my God, you are this." These are things that actually bring in, these are things that actually leave a door open so that people can say whatever they want to you, so that people can treat you the way that they want. They do that because you don't do that to yourself. When you do certain things to yourself, you will not allow a foreign thing, yes, a foreign thing to happen in your midst or in your life, because you would know that this is foreign in my life and I am not allowing this. So, how do you view yourself and how do you speak to you will also determine how you will allow people to talk to you. So, the things other thing is that the things that have been said about you that shape you, that you start believing, because these are things that people lose their self-worth, that you grew up, that there are things that will be said and the things really you will not avoid. I remember a young girl, somebody came to me and she was like, "You know what, with this big body girl, you are getting old." And I'm like, "What?" And I think, every single time, even when I was older, I would go back to the things that were said before, to the things that some people said, someone said to me, and it will be one person out of 100 people, out of thousands of people that will say that one negative thing that you will take. I always said, why is it that we believe the negative report so quickly than the positive report? It's because we already don't view ourselves the way that we should. We already have a question mark about ourselves. So when somebody comes to say something, it's a confirmation. Anything negative, it's a confirmation. What I've been thinking about myself is actually true. Somebody else can see it. Yet there are 100 people, 1,000 people that are saying negative, positive things to you. Why don't you take the positive? In fact, you need the positive to build your life, to build your self-worth. Without you being intact and in position, I want to tell you, nobody will acknowledge your worth, because you will not set standards or boundaries or things that need to be set in place for you to receive what you want to receive. So the other thing is what you believed. What do you believe? If something happens and somebody says, or what do you believe in a business actually doesn't work out or things like that, you make a decision. You make a decision right there that, my God, I am not worthy. I am not. You are worthy. And one wrong business decision or one failed business is not the rest of your life. One failed relationship is not the rest of your life. One failed business relationship or whatever, it is not the end of your life. You have a life ahead of you. You need to start speaking to yourself correct words. How do you position yourself for you to see the worth that you are, the word that you have? You need to start speaking the correct word to yourself. I don't think I look good. Honey, you look good. I don't think I can do this. Honey, you can do this. If God found you good enough, who are you to say no? Because I wanted people to first see it, because we usually go like, no, he's not treating me well. Are you treating how are you allowing him or her not to treat you well? Why are you allowing something that you know very well that is against who you are, your principles or values? How do you allow it? It's because you already do that to yourself. You already speak like that to yourself. You already think you are not good enough. I have I know it's not all cases, but I have seen also some girls in 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 in, in very abusive relationships, either emotionally or physically. You'll find that it's also in them. It's though they don't deserve it, but they already feel inadequate. They already feel like if I leave this person, nobody else will come for me. And it all starts with you. But a person that understands the worth will say, you know what? I wanted this relationship to work. I really wanted to this something to come out of this, but it's not working. It is not working. It's not working. And you will take the lessons that you need to take, and you will go, and you will believe that there's somebody who will meet your worth. There's somebody who will see you for who you are, for who God says you are, not what they say. If they tell you no, you're not beautiful enough, oh my God, and you go. I remember this incident. Somebody says, I feel like you're not humble enough. Jesus Lord. When somebody says that, they want you to make you feel like you're inadequate to be in a relationship. The Bible already declares that a wife must be humble and submit to the husband. A husband must love his wife. So he says, because you're not love, you're not you. I'm saying you're not humble according to what he wants, not according to how God wants it to be. That person is saying to you, you are not lovable. I won't love you. I want you don't deserve to be loved. I am not able to love you because you're not humble in a way, in my way. Even if it's abusing you, or it's hurting you, or it's lying to you, or it is trying to belittle your mind. When you know your self-worth, you will take the lesson and you will go. It is time to build your worth. What are your goals? When you know your worth, you will communicate your worth in your goals. You'll communicate your worth in your vision. You'll communicate your worth in your values. What are my core values? My self-worth in a relationship as a single woman are this. You stipulate them. My self-worth, your worth will come out of the values, the things that you embrace, the values that you embrace. And the other thing is, you need to speak one thing and do it. Because every single time you speak and you do not do, the Bible speaks about a certain parable. It says, a servant was sent, and he said, I will go, and he did not go. And the other one what that said, I will not go, but ended up going. Which one of the two is the right servant? And the Bible says the one that was able to do what was instructed of him. Sometimes you feel lazy, you feel like, oh my God, I'm so tired that maybe my standards are too high. There's no standards that are too high. If God says it, if you have said it and you have seen it in somebody's life working, if there is a standard on or value or principle that you practice, if you know that you are a 5 a.m. club girl or boy or guy or gentleman, whatever, and you stand to that, there will be fruits for that. If you know that I work when it is my hours to work, my nothing will move me from what I need to do, people will even respect that. Worth comes from you first. It's a within thing. Once you practice it and implement it in your own life, by habits, by values, by principles, then people that come in your life will know. And if somebody crosses that boundary, you will be able to say, this boundary, no, it is coming against my future, it is coming against my purpose, and it's definitely coming against my peace. So cut it here, right there. And you know what? You go and you believe God, that God, you will bring people that will embrace this boundary. That God, you come first in my life, and God, these are my values in the relationship, and God, these are my values in this business, and these are this, and you go, because you held your value, they will respect you for life. You held yourself high, they will respect you for life. It is important. I repeat, it is important to know your worth. Your self-worth is everything. If you put that in place, if you set values for yourself, if you have values and you have goals, you set them and you do them, that is a communication to the world outside to say, this is my self-worth. It's like this: if you know that you need to be paid for a service that you are doing, and somebody comes to you and says, um I think you can do this, and it is exposure. At that time, listen, when you grow, there are times when you know, okay, I'm doing this for exposure. And there are times when you know that I have gotten enough exposure and I know that I am content enough to go out there and put a fee to myself. So if somebody says exposure, you say no. You say no. You have already had enough exposure. The next person, that person thinks of you, they will pay you. They will come with a fee to you. They will come with something significant to you. I was watching somebody saying, um he couldn't perform because they wanted him to perform for free, and people insulted him and they said a lot of things to him that were unpleasant. And a few years later, because he said no to that, he's global, he's big, there is so much going on in his life. You know what he said? No. He said no, 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 no. Joseph said no to sleeping with that wife, with Potiphar's wife. He said, no, I'm not sleeping with somebody's wife. I have my worth, I have a future, I have a purpose, and I'm not going to cut it short right here. What the wife wanted was, immediate benefits. This is what you get. But he knew his worth enough and said, I am not taking this route. Do not cut corners if you want to hold your worth. Do not cut corners. I'm in business, and you'll find people that will come already. They know this is the price, this is how much this goes for, and they come in like, could you maybe do it for this much? But and you find that they have never bought from you, they are not your normal client, but they come the first time with a discount. Honey, say no. No, your worth is every single thing. Your worth, if you know you're good at your service and you know you're good at what you're doing, say no to people that want to undermine your worth. Say no to a man or a woman, because guys, it's not only women that are abused, even other men are abused. Say no to a man that wants to abuse you, that wants to degrade you, that wants you to view yourself differently, so that say no. Say no to that woman who wants to control and all those things. Say no. Know your worth. Your mind is everything. Your peace is everything. Your life is everything. And believe me, if you can stand by your principles and the things that your principles and your values, believe me, you will attract the right people. You will attract, if you want it bad enough, you will find help. The universe, the earth that God has made has a way of replenishing, of giving you the help that you need once you believe in the things that you have said for yourself. For me, Queen Sheila, I believe this was a great time. I had a great time too. And I know that if you can implement, if you can continually remind yourself, if you can continually speak to yourself about who you are, the word that you carry, the power that you carry, and you are not afraid to be that person, do not allow any person to make you feel like you are too much for exercising who God has called you to be, on who God says you are. You continue speaking the right words. God will bring people that will align with you properly. He will bring that good man that will align with the gifts and every single thing that He has said in your life. He will bring the right friends that will not feel intimidated, or that will grow, that you will grow together with. And you know what? I always say, have parallel and horizontal relationships. There are relationships that are above you, people that have more than you, knowledge wise, financially, spiritually. Have those people in your life. Have people that you have the same talk, the same level with, that you can learn from and say, okay, this is it, and they understand. Have people that are below you. Yes, there are people that are still coming, that those sometimes it's people that help you in the house, have those relationships. When if you can have a good relationship with somebody on top, you need to know how to have a good relationship with your helper. You need to know how to treat them well, speak to them well, give them the right treatment that you would want to be given, the right one that you would want to be given. So please share this message. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like it, share it. Somebody needs to know this. And somebody needs to program their mind. You need to start watching, hearing things that are aligned with who God says you are aligned with your life, are aligned with your future, are aligned. It's like having a friend or somebody, a business associate. You are in business, and when you are in business, you are definitely there to give a service, and in that service you will earn out of that service. And somebody says, I don't think the service will do, but they are there every single morning, and you have a different vision that this service will work, this is where we're going, and this is what is going to happen. If that person doesn't see, leave, move. My worth. I will not contaminate myself with negativity. I will not put myself in a position where now I think negatively. My worth is everything. So I choose to let you go, and I keep my positivity, and that is keeping your self worth. From me, Queen Sheila, I love you so much. Thank you.